If you're in the market for a dressing for your car's interior to sort of bring back that high shine and make it look brand new again, we're going to go over that in this video today. I'm going to go over one of my favorite dressings on the market and the one that I typically use on all my details, and that is Meguiar's Detailer Series Hyper Dressing.
Alright, so a quick little breakdown of the product here before we get started. Hyper Dressing by Meguiar's is a water-based dressing. It's not one of those silicone-based dressings. The thing I like about water-based dressings is that it doesn't attract all that dust that silicone dressings do. It's also more forgiving, easier to work with, kind of less noticeable if you don't have as even as a coat on there or if you miss a spot and things like that. So it's easier to work with, it's more forgiving, and it doesn't attract all that dust and lint that you see pick up on those silicone dressings. So that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to go with a water-based dressing. This is what I offer in my detailing packages as well. The one trade-off, of course, is that it doesn't last as long as a silicone dressing will. You'll get a couple months out of it if you're using it on the interior. If you're using it on an exterior surface, maybe a little bit less time. But again, it's easier to work with and it doesn't attract dust and debris and stuff like that. So for me, the trade-off is worth it. And I think this stuff, personally, you can get really good results with this. So we're going to break it down. It says it's intended for use on engine bays, undercarriages, wheel wells, tires, exterior trim, interior plastics, and vinyl there on the label. So you can use it on pretty much everything except for leather. It does not say that it's safe on leather, so you're going to want to use a leather dressing for your leather. But water-based formula, high shine finish on interior and exterior surfaces right there. Got some more information on the back about how to use it, professional tips and things like that. But we're going to break it down. We're going to get right into it and see what kind of results it'll give us.
So quick disclaimer, I did clean all the surfaces that we're going to be applying the product to before the start of the video. Went over it with some all-purpose and a microfiber, things like that, just to kind of prep the area. Always make sure that you're working with a clean area when you're applying any dressings. I'm going to be using a microfiber sponge. These are one of my favorite things to apply dressings with. I like to use it for hand waxing the outside of the vehicle as well. We're just going to go over and put a nice even coat, get it as even as we can. Obviously, we try not to get it on any of the silver colored trim there and just stick to the black. So you can see here's the end result on the dash. Does a fantastic job of bringing back sort of that satin type of shine, which I personally like. I think it looks great. Put a little bit on the face of the steering wheel, never on the handle of the steering wheel, as that could be a big safety hazard. Now we're going to get right into the door panel here. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to apply it to our microfiber sponge. Obviously, make sure you're far enough away from the vehicle so that you don't get overspray on anything, because then it's just a headache to get that off, and a lot of times you won't notice it until much later on. So always apply it onto the applicator far enough away from the vehicle as to avoid overspray. So same process here. We're just going to go over it and make sure we have a nice even coat on all the surfaces of the door panel. You'll notice there's a little bit of white spotting in the mesh there of the speaker. We're going to go over that with a microfiber towel to get the excess off, so that's not an issue at all. It'll come right off. It's not a problem. Again, avoiding any leather areas, anything like that. This stuff is not marketed for leather. It does not say it's safe on leather, so you're going to want to use a leather dressing for that. But see, here's the end result on the plastic of the door panel there. Again, does a great job of bringing back sort of that satin shine, giving it just a little bit of pop to make it stand out. Now, this is something I haven't done before. I've used the product on interiors. I've never used it as a tire dressing. That's one of the main reasons for this video, is I was curious myself to see how it would do as a tire dressing, being that it is a water-based formula. Typically, you're going to want something that lasts a little bit longer, that's a little bit thicker for your tires, but I wanted to give this a shot and just see what it could do. You can see here's the end result after it dried and after I had wiped the excess off with a microfiber. It's not great. It does bring sort of a satin shine, but I went over it one more time to see what it would do, and this was that end result. So you can definitely get some results with a couple of coats of it on your tires. Now, this is something I typically don't do and I don't recommend, is going over the floor mats with a dressing. If you're going to go over it with a dressing, use one that is non-slick. You can see it does a fantastic job of bringing back that shine here. I was pretty blown away by it. but again, it can be a safety hazard if your feet are sliding around down there by the pedals. So if you do use dressing on your floor mats, make sure you use caution.
So my final thoughts on the Meguiar's Hyper dressing. I think it's a really good dressing. I think probably one of the best ones on the market in terms of what I've seen. I haven't used all the ones on the market, but I've seen some people that have used different products here and there. And from what I've seen, this seems to be a very good, very efficient and effective dressing. So definitely one of my favorite products to use. I think it gives you the perfect amount of shine. Now I will say, if you're talking about on tires, you might want a dedicated dressing for tires. Tires is something you might want to stick with silicone with if you want that high shine. Personally, I don't prefer a high shine on tires. I like, kind of a satin semi-gloss finish myself. But for people that want high shine on tires, you can get high shine with this. You'll just have to go over it a couple times, and it might not last as long as a dedicated tire dressing. But if you're talking about for interior, for plastics and trim and things like that, this stuff is great. It doesn't attract any lint, any dust, and it's very easy to work with. And pricing wise, you're looking at around 20 bucks for this, depending on where you get it. You could get it for a couple bucks cheaper, a couple bucks more, depending on where you go. That's for this size, which is pre-diluted 1-to-1, ready to use. You could get a gallon size that I believe you would have to dilute yourself, and I think those run about $85 or something like that, so pretty expensive, but it is a good product. You can see this is part of the Meguiar's detailer line, so it's meant for both enthusiasts and professionals alike. So it is a very good product though. I highly recommend it if you're looking for something that gives you that shine for interior and for exterior trim and things like that. Again, for tires, you might want a dedicated product. It's not my favorite thing to use for tires. I like a gel for tires for my clients that do like shiny tires. Me personally, I don't really ever put dressing on my own tires, but if you're somebody that likes dressing on your tires, I would recommend sticking to a dedicated tire dressing. But I mean, that's about it. That's my breakdown for the product. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and go ahead and pick yourself up about all this stuff and let me know how it works for you. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, so you don't miss out on any of my content in the future, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.